Well, hello, everybody. Today is December 12th, the year of manifesting, and I want to welcome everybody to the Positive Living Center Oakhurst for our Sunday morning service. I want to welcome everybody that's new today. If you're here for the first time, welcome, 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 and glad you found us, and hope you come back again sometime. And if you're here because you've liked us, you've been here before, and you're not new, then glad you keep coming back, because we're a community that lives and loves from the heart. Thank you for coming. Today is the 12th of December, and our themes for today are taking a spiritual inventory, what have I learned, and my spiritual goals for 2022. So why don't you all just kind of settle back, take a deep breath, turn off your cell phones, and take a quick sip of coffee or tea. And let's settle back into our heart space. Close our eyes. And then let's go into meditation as we hear some music from Joe Bull.
Pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit, pour your love in me, pour yourself into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit.
And just imagine that wonderful spirit in your heart, the love energy, just flowing down through the crown of your head, down into the heart space, and just filling that heart space with love, with the joy of the Christ consciousness, and flowing down through your body and down through your legs into the earth, and lighting the inside of you up like a Christmas tree, and flowing down and then flowing back up like a loop, the God loop, and just expanding in your heart space that love, that spirit, the spirit of Christmas love that's not here just at Christmas time, but all year long, just for you. And expand it out and radiate it out. The consciousness of love radiating with you, for you, and as you, in all ways and always. And I claim this for you now. So be it, and so we let it be so, and so it is. And now let's hear today's spiritual thought from the Reverend L.J. Bull.
Good morning. We have these wonderful new themes I'm excited about. I was reflecting back on goals. The goals that I remember is Joe and I used to do our goals. We'd write them down. We'd meet together and we would write those goals down. What do we want to do this year? Do we want to travel? Do we want to do any fix-em-ups to the house? Do we want to learn new things, go new places, experience new activities? Do we want to develop new skills? What is it that we want to do in this year? And we would write those down and we would hang them. We'd poke a hole in them and we put them on the nail that we put our calendar on, and we put the calendar over them. and we wouldn't even revisit them until way later in the year. And then we'd pull them out and we would be amazed. We'd be amazed at how many of the things that we had written down just happened. They just came about, and made us wonder why we didn't do that more often. But speaking of those goals, and that brings us to the point of taking inventory. I looked on the internet and I saw plenty of spiritual questions we can ask ourselves, but I'm going to share with you the 3 that I experienced at a Revelation conference. And at the time, I don't know, was I maybe late 30s, early 40s? At the time, I found them to be astounding because I had never considered it. Here it is, 3 questions, or really 3 things to write down. 1, God is. What is that in our heart, mind, soul? What do we feel, think, believe, hold as God is? The second one is I am. And what does that look like? What does I am look like? What is I am to me? What is this I am presence, this individualized expression presence look like to me? How could I see it? At that time, I am what? I am who? And write that down. And the third one is the world is. The world is. And write down what our thoughts and our feelings and our sight and our sounds, what is senses, what the world is to me. And after I wrote those down, not knowing where it was leading at all, I got to experience from this workshop a singer. She was an amazing singer. Oh my gosh, amazing singer that did this workshop. And I got to experience by her communication with us that if the world doesn't look like God to us, how might it? How might it look like God to us? In other words, the God is, the I am, and the world is, can be congruent. They can be the natural flow of creativity because they are. But we can also have a whole skew, a whole plethora, a cornucopia of views that seem separate, that seem like they are not one creative expression. That was powerful for me. I had not even considered that possibility. The what have I learned? I'm not going to give away Bob's title because I just love it too much and it's his to share. But I wouldn't say it's what I've learned as much as what am I learning now? What am I learning now? When I was 26 years old and I went into the life insurance industry, by the way, after I went, no, not me. Stay away, I'm not going into that field. But after I went into the field, my biggest concern, my biggest fear was, what will I do when someone loses a loved one? What will I do? How will I support them? Can I do that? I didn't feel very gifted in that way. I will say that I'm learning a lot about how I can support someone. I truly want to support them through a rough time and how I can do that. I'm learning that this year. I'm learning not to resist life. Accept it. Accept life in all its colors and all its hues. And should just a little bit less. And I've always known that this life is teaching me all I need to be taught. And then what are my spiritual goals for this next year? For a long time, it's been be a beneficial presence. That's been my goal. Be a beneficial presence. I'm still to discover what those goals are for this next year. But I'm going to be sitting in the question and letting it reveal itself to me. And that's it. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's, I think we all have, sometimes how do we support others? And it's a continuous journey, isn't it? How do we support others? And being the best me we can be, being that spiritual presence. Thank you. Thank you, LJ. And now for some more wonderful music from Joe Bull.
Thank you, Misty. Good morning, everyone. This song I'm going to sing is known by everyone. I'm singing it today because there was a young man just recently I heard sing it in his style, and I'd like to try that style with you today. The reason I want to honor him is he had 4-stage cancer, and he was sure he was going to die, and his mother wouldn't let him. His mother said, "You're going to think positive thoughts." And she came up with this particular song for him to sing in his head over and over. Today, he's 100% healthy. So I thought that was just a great story. So I'm going to honor Jonathan with this song. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, so bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now, the pain is gone. It's gonna be a bright, so bright, sunshiny day. Ooh, look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, so bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, so bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, so bright, sunshiny day.
Bravo, bravo, bravo. Wow. Gosh, I love your high notes. It was so, touched my heart, and it was so nice and clear. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, Joe. I'm going to tell Joe, the other Joe, hey, put this Joe on the list more often. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. And now for our wonderful speaker for today, give him a hand for the Reverend Bob Hand.
Thank you. I'm going to speak on the topic of what have I learned, and I want to thank LJ for not taking my speech because, of course, the only really correct answer is not enough. So thank you all for having me here. I'm going to go a little deeper than that. You know, when I think about what have I learned, I always like to go bigger, and I go with what have we learned? And if you're going to go there, might as well go to what has humankind learned? What has humankind learned spiritually? And unfortunately, the answer is the same, not enough. But we could go deeper than that. So the oldest burials that have been found, actually of Neanderthals and of Homo sapiens, human beings, they found burials about 80,000 years old. So 80,000 years ago, human beings were taking people who passed away, and they find these burials in caves where people didn't live. So they're purposely taking them in there, and it appears purposely setting them in particular ways. And so that makes anthropologists think that there was some kind of belief in an afterlife. So 80,000 years ago, already some kind of religious belief. And the oldest writings that we know of, there may be older ones, the oldest ones we know of from Mesopotamia, cuneiform on tablets, the oldest about religion, about the creation of the world, about the creation of humans, are about 7,000 years old. So you think about that. Human beings have been thinking about religion for maybe 80,000 years. And we've been writing about religion for 7,000 years. Now, I'm not that quick myself, but it seems like in that time frame, you ought to be able to work things out. You know, if you've been thinking of something for 80,000 years, shouldn't you have it down pretty well pat? And yet, we have what are considered 5 major religions: Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Muslim belief system. 5 religions, major religions still. But it's much more complicated than that. They estimate that there are about 4,200 religions that human beings have. 4,200. In 80,000 years, the best we can come up with is over 4,000 different answers to our spiritual beliefs. But actually, I think it's much more complicated than that. I think that there are about 6 billion religions in the world. About 6 billion. I think every single one of us has our own religion. I mean, you think about that. Here's this devoted Catholic, this woman who goes to Mass twice a week. She has an altar in her house, totally devoted Catholic, and yet she won't do anything until she consults her astrology sign. Well, astrology isn't part of the Catholic belief. How about a Buddhist who is devout, totally committed to Buddhism, but when he walks home from work and it's after dark, he won't take the shortcut through the graveyard because he's afraid some angry ghost is going to possess him. But in the Buddhist teaching, there's nothing about being possessed by angry ghost. Think about the atheist. The atheist, all we see is what's right here. That's all that exists. But on Friday the 13th, he's really extra careful because somehow the number 13 has some mysterious power. Each and every one of us, I think, has our own religion. But I also think that's probably the divine plan. Now, why would that be? But what's going on, I think, is If you look at our everyday lives, there's only one answer to everything. If I say A plus B is 14, it's 14. I can't then say A plus B is 15. Can't be both of them. If I say, you know what, I'm going to mix blue and yellow and I get green, I can't then say, well, I'm going to mix blue and yellow and get red. You can't do it. There's only one correct answer. But that's only in our everyday lives. In the physical existence, there's a place where there's more than one right answer, and that's in the quantum realm. In the quantum world, there can be more than one right answer. You can say this is energy, but it's also matter. You can say a particle is over here, but that same particle is over here. You can say nothing can move faster than the speed of light, and yet entangled particles can share information instantly, even if they're 1,000 miles apart. So in that quantum world, there's more than one right answer. And I was thinking, well, maybe when we've moved out of the physical world and we're in the purely spiritual world, maybe there's only one right answer spiritually. Maybe there's ultimate spiritual truths that absolutely apply. But maybe, just maybe, we live in the quantum part of the spiritual world where there is more than one right answer. Maybe the physical world is actually in the quantum part of the spiritual world, and there can be more than one right spiritual answer. Now, in the quantum world, it doesn't mean that every answer is right, just that there's more than one right answer. But if there can be more than one right spiritual answer, how do we find what is true and what isn't true? And sometimes people say, well, our intuition will tell us. Our intuition will, if we follow it, it'll always be right. And maybe that's true. I don't know. Not so much for me, I don't think. I remember a time in college. I was after class. I don't even remember what the class was, but there was this very good-looking young woman in class. We were talking afterward, and she was talking something about the class. I don't remember the details, but all of a sudden I looked at her and I said, well, look at the way she's standing. Look at the way she's smiling at me. Her tone of voice, my intuition said, this young woman really likes me. And so I said, right out of the blue, I'm going to take you to dinner. And she looked shocked and said, I'm not ever going out with you, and turned around and walked off. And I thought, you know what? My intuition maybe is a little defective. Now, sometimes it works for me, but I have a hard time relying on it. So how else are we going to decide? Well, as I said, not all answers are correct. We know that. We've got to figure out how to find the right one. But there are a lot of them out there. I mean, one of them it made me think of was Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer. And he was carrying around a dead cat. And Tom says, what are you going to do with that cat? And he says, I'm going to get rid of warts. Well, how do you do that? And Huck says, well, when a really evil man has died, you go to the graveyard that night at midnight. And when the devil comes to get him, then you heave the cat at the devil and you say, devil follow corpse, cat follow devil, warts follow cat. I'm done with you. That'll fetch away any warts. And Tom said, yeah, that sounds about right. Well, I don't know. It doesn't sound quite right to me. I can't think of what spiritual principle is involved in that, maybe, but I haven't tried it. I've never tried it. I have to admit that. So how do we decide? Well, we're a new thought sitter, right? We're new thought. Now, new thought is like the child of religious science, maybe the illegitimate child of religious science, but still we're the child of it. We use science of mind as one of our major teaching books. So there's a little clue here, science. Maybe we can use science to decide what's right. And I'm not talking about a particular science. I'm not saying let's look at chemistry. Let's look at how hydrogen atoms bind with oxygen atoms to make water, and that's going to teach us the spiritual truths, but rather the scientific method. What's the scientific method? Well, it starts with observation. And I was thinking maybe the OER method. The OER method. So we diligently observe. We take the time to observe the world, to observe what we do, observe the actions and the consequences. And then we discipline ourselves to evaluate it. Don't just say things happen. Don't just say other people have told me this will happen. But we evaluate what happened. When we did this, did we get the result we wanted? When we did this, it takes diligence to make sure that we do that evaluation. And then we still have to set aside the time to reconcile. So here was our observations. Here's what we did. Here's our thoughts about it. Now we have to reconcile all of those things to form a belief system that works. And you know what? I think for each of us, if we will do this on an ongoing basis, we can create our own personal religion. Yes, with a new thought principle, certainly, but our own personal religion that works for us and connects us to the divine. And if we do that, we can help other people do it. If we figured out how to do it for ourselves, we can help people make the authentic religion for them that will connect them with the divine. And you know what? If we do that, and if we do it right, if we're diligent, if we do it right, all of these different religions will be like threads. They'll be like threads that weave together into a tapestry, into a beautiful divine tapestry that can blanket the world with love and joy. And so it is.
And so it is. Wow, that gives me lots to think about. Weaving into a tapestry. Thank you, Bob. Thank you. That's weaving into with a new thought basis, and yeah. Thank you. It's you always give a lot to think about, Bob. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Will you join me in our offertory prayer? And in the chat box, I have the offertory prayer there, and also where you can send your offertory. Divine love flowing through me blesses and increases all that I give and all that I receive. I want to thank you all for financially supporting the Positive Living Center. We are a nonprofit that is funded by donations only. Your generosity of spirit continually brings the power of love and the ability to transform lives and build community. And, it not only goes for paying the mortgage, but for those that want to get back into the building, There's a deep cleaning that has to go on. And we're talking cobwebs and spiders. We're talking mouse stuff, the little pellets the mice leave around. It has deep cleaning. It's going to cost from $1,200 to $1,500. So I know everybody gives monthly, but sort of like, some of the churches that take a second offering, I am encouraging you to give that second offering. And because it does at $1,200 to $1,500 doesn't magically appear like that. So, give what you can, please, so that all that mouse stuff can be cleaned, because that, the hantavirus comes from all that mouse stuff. And Sandy and I can tell you, when you open the cupboards and that stuff comes out and you're there saying, oh my God, that needs to be cleaned, So before you guys can get in that building, there's lots of cleaning that needs to be gotten. And you can send your donations to the PLC Post Office Box 2683, Oakhurst, California, 93644. PayPal via the green donate button there. And any other ways of doing it, call Laura, and it's just, heart to heart community. You need to support each other, and you want to get back in the building. It takes financial prosperity and abundance, and God help us all. It's there. And I claim it now then give thanks that there are all these channels of supply and financial abundance coming to PLC now. And it's through all the hearts of the love consciousness of our community. So thank you. And I know through all of us that mouse stuff will be cleaned up soon. Thank you. And any other announcements? Let me put the view on gallery so I can see anybody raising their hands. No? Any classes? LJ, did you have any classes you're giving you wanted to say anything about? Okay. And practitioner of the day is Reverend Kim Haley. And next week's speaker. Oh, Patty. You want to, there's, okay.
I was just waving at Kim.
I thought you were holding your hand up to
No,
say something.
I have nothing else to say.
And I thought I was prayer practitioner, but you know what? Everybody knows, contact the people you feel most comfortable praying.
I'm sorry, you're right.
All good.
I had that down for next week. See, I was always already ahead of myself. Yes, spiritual thought and practitioner is LJ. Thank you. Yes, I was looking at my list here, and it was next week's speaker is Reverend Kim Haley. I just had that moment of dyslexia. Oh, well, you win a few and you win a few. Okay. And God bless y'all, and I love y'all. It's so nice being here, and I love the community. Okay. And any other, okay. So let's go ahead and do the prayer of protection. Let's know for ourselves that all is well. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. The energy of God is me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Reverend Sandy, can you give the closing treatment?
Oh, yes. Please close your eyes and just relax into the knowing that all is God, all is well, all is love. And in this community, we have that. We can share and smile and love, and it feels wonderful. The coming together, the being together, it matters. And as we go forth into the future and go back into our building, we will stream to Zoom, and we will figure out a way that the Zoom community can still be there intact and talking to each other before service. There is a way to do all of this, and we are figuring it out. And as we go forth, knowing new information is ours, new guidance is ours, and it's all doable. to continue our love, continue our sharing. Oh, as we come together, we know that there is only God. And please state with me, and so it is.
And so it is.
Ah, thank you, everybody. It's been wonderful. Oh, and I can't tell you, just the music, the spiritual thought, the sermon, all of it just flowed and touched my heart. Thank you, everybody. Hey, Bob, enjoy the game.